Please join in singing our opening hymn, number 1003, Where Do We Come From? Hymn 1003. If you need a hymnal, get in touch with the church. We can get you one so you can sing along with us at home during our virtual services. For hymn 1003 today, we'll sing it through once all together. And on the second time through, we're going to break into a round, and you can pick either group 1 or group 2.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going?
Good morning. Our opening words this morning are by the Reverend Tate Gallardo. There's my temple, believer, unbeliever, or wild one. You're welcome here. We have no definition of who we are but human. We have no code but that of respect. We have no creed but that of equality. There's my temple. Identity seeker, sinner, stateless or not, you are welcome. We have no constraints on expression but space. We have no code but to listen to poetry between the silence and the surrender. There's my temple. You're welcome here. We have no pope above us, no infallible bull. We have no judgment but in terms of harm. History maker, marginalized, unorganized, you're welcome here. We have no covenant among us but mutual assistance. We insist on no assumptions and doubt moral facts. We are free to theorize with emotion and call it hope. There's my temple. Funny, temperamental, shy, or wise, you are welcome. There's not one way of being, not even superhuman. We have no world but that which we together create. I light this chalice to remind us of the light of this community, of the love that holds us all, and of our deep interconnectedness.
Please join me in the recitation of our shared covenant. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
So I was talking with a friend last week. She teaches a form of history, early Christianity, around the time of what's known as the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, a gathering at which much of what became the basis for the New Testament was agreed upon. And as one considers these readings, those in the New Testament from the modern times, it is fascinating because the New Testament, which is also known as the Christian Bible, it's a collection of stories. It's a small portion of those many stories that were part of the oral storytelling tradition for millennia before that. But the Bible, the Christian Bible, only includes those stories deemed worthy for political or religious reasons to make it into the, kind of the final editing cut. And in codifying the stories in this manner, and then declaring it the state religion, Christianity achieved the goal it had at the moment, to supersede and to make irrelevant and illegal the cult of Judaism. And that is how they saw it at the time. And to hold their power singularly. So even though the Roman Empire fell in 395 AD, just 50 years after the codification of these stories in the Bible, Christianity really did not have the same fate. Christianity has survived and thrived over time in some really surprising ways. And I share this today from the pulpit because Christianity hasn't just persisted, it hasn't just remained powerful, but it's also been a force that's done some really horrible things over the course of history. From the Inquisitions to the Crusades, a lot of harm was done in the name of this faith tradition. So when I get the question with some regularity, is Unitarian Universalism part of the Christian tradition? My reflex is to say no, because I want to distance us from that history. But the truth is that the answer is far more complex than that. And I don't intend any of this as a Christianity is bad, this conversation, and nor would I believe that about any faith tradition. But what's done in the name of religion, not the religion itself, what's done in the name of religion and how we understand the increasing lack of separation between church and state, that matters. And this is all the more relevant right now, given the very open secret that Christian evangelicals are in political power, not just the occupant of the White House, though him too, but many are following an alarmingly literal translation of stories collected thousands of years ago and following them to very dangerous ends. The viciousness with which we are going after anyone veering from that narrowly defined normal, immigrants, transgender individuals, queer folks, Black people, and the list goes on, it's a horrifying and scary time to live in which the hatred is affirmed and sometimes not infrequently even legislated into law. But we really can't talk about any of this, I've realized, without taking a deeper look at the roots of our own faith tradition of Unitarian Universalism. The Unitarian side of our heritage I've spoken about before. It stretches all the way back to 16th century Transylvania in the country of Romania. Michael Servetus, a philosopher and a medical doctor at that time in Transylvania, is often called the father of Unitarianism. He was the first to fight against the notion of a Trinity being the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And it's a whole different sermon to talk about why the Trinity matters so much and why it was so hard fought. But suffice it to say that it's central to Christianity. So when you call yourself a Unitarian, when you are actively rejecting that Trinitarian philosophy, an insistence on a single God, that was heresy to most of the Christian faith. And as I've told you before, it was this heresy that made Michael Servetus a martyr at the age of 42 when he was sacrificed for these beliefs. The Universalist side of our faith tradition, by comparison, is very different. It brings a lot of good, including universal salvation. Universalism has existed for a long time, but it really found its grounding in adherence following the tent revivals in the South in this country during the 1700s. Soon thereafter, they became a Universalist Church of America with very liberal, but nonetheless Christian roots. And there's no question that Unitarian Universalism, as it exists today, carries forth certain substantive parts of its theology and practice from those traditions. And if you're wondering by now, why is Rev DL giving us a UU history lesson? It's because the religious forces I'm describing are impacting not just our political process, but the power structures around the world. And it's hard and necessary spiritual work that we understand who we are and where we come from in these most tenuous of times. Because Unitarian Universalism, contrary to popular opinion, is not an I can believe anything tradition. There is no statement of faith, no creed, but even if we don't notice it, there's much that guides how we move forward. So I want you to think about who and what do we fight for? Are there ways that we're perpetuating the oppressions that we think we're fighting against? Because unless we know who we are and how we got here, we're not able to help create a different future. And in these weeks leading up to the election, like many of you, that's what's on my mind. I believe with all of my heart that understanding where we come from influences for the better our decision-making. So this week, as you watch politics, as you think about the world, as you maybe either sit in anxiety or in peace, I encourage you to explore and engage with your understanding of our faith tradition. May we dig deeply into our past with the faith that it can lead us toward the future that we dream of. Blessed be.
Please join in singing our closing hymn, 394, Hava Nashira, hymn 394. Thanks to our choir members for putting this together to give you something to sing with in these virtual services. For hymn 394 today, we'll sing it through twice in unison and another 2 times in a round in up to 3 groups. Your choice, which group you pick.
Havana Shira, Shir Alleluia. 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 Havana Shir Alleluia, Havana Shira, Shir Alleluia, Havana Shira, Shir Alleluia.
I extinguish this chalice, this flame, but not its light, the light we take with us out into the world, sharing with those we encounter on our journey. Instead of a benediction per se, I invite you into a time of kind of closing prayer and meditation. I invite you to be fully present here and now in this sacred time and space with ourselves, with each other, and with that which is larger than ourselves alone. Source of all life, all love, all hope, known by many names and in many ways. We don't know who or what you are, or even if you can be called a who or a what. Our words fail us. Our minds fail when we ponder the enormity, diversity, complexity, wonder, and beauty of the universe and this world. And yet we sense more than know that our lives are part of a larger life, that we are indeed connected with everyone and everything in one interdependent web of being, and that there is something both immanent and transcendent that nurtures and sustains our lives and life itself. Something that calls us and all life into greater wholeness and harmony. We give thanks this morning for all the gifts and blessings of life, for this day, for the beauty and wonder and mystery of life, for our families and friends, for health and work, for opportunities to learn and love and grow, for the love and support of others in times of illness and despair. But we remember too that others here in this room, in this city, and around the world live in poverty, hunger, fear, insecurity, isolation, violence, and economic challenge. So in the silence of the room and in the silence of our hearts, may we hear the call to a wider perspective and a deeper resolve. May we live with greater compassion and care for ourselves, each other, and the world. May we touch each other more deeply, hear each other more clearly, and see each other's sorrows and pains as our own. May we strive to become more than we are, more loving, more forgiving, more kind, more honest, more open, more connected, and more whole. May our hearts speak silently all of the prayers of our lives, our soul's greatest joys and deepest sorrows, our triumphs and failures, our regrets and fears, our disappointments and losses, our hopes and dreams. And in that, may we heal and be healed. May we face the uncertainties and tragedies of life with hope, faith, and courage, knowing that life is good and that we are not alone.
Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Carry the flame of peace and love